Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be documenting my rebuild of my John Deere GT225 engine. I've already started disassembly of it. It has a Kohler CV15, it's a Kohler command, and finally going to be working on this project. I've owned the machine for about, I want to say 3-4 years now. It's treated me very well after I've replaced the head gasket, but been getting a lot of lifter noise, which seems to be a common problem for this motor. But what I'm going to do is I've already noticed that the head inside, I have changed out the valve stem seals, but I did notice that the exhaust valve, the guide is pretty loose, and I have to, there's really no way to replace that. There's no way to sleeve it. It's just better to buy a new head, and that's what I've done. So I bought an entire head kit there. Also going to replace the piston rings, the oil seals on each of the ends. Going to change out the woodruff key here, which is another common issue that it tends to shear. This one, in this case, looks pretty good. And like I said, it's been pretty easy going so far, disassembling everything. You can see I got a whole workbench of parts, and thankfully I had an impact gun to remove the flywheel and also the PTO clutch. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited to get going on this, and let's get to it. So here we are, it's a new day, and I have finished the reassembly and rebuild of my John Deere engine. The only thing that I've added is a tachometer, which I got from US Carburation. Appreciate it, Hugh, thank you so much. I've also done a standard tune-up, new gas filter, oil filter, air filter. Keep in mind that the CV15S has a shorter air filter than the CV460. It's both engines were used in the model GT225. I have to do a zero governor adjustment on this before I crank it up, and just so you guys know for future reference, an ST3614 SuperTech from Walmart fits just fine. And it's also much more affordable than the John Deere version. And here's an update after driving around with the machine. I got it back here in the garage, and I had conventional oil in there during the break-in period. I ran it for about 1.3 hours, varying loads, vacuum up some leaves with the bagger attachment here, and so far things seem to be doing okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm draining out the oil. I'm going to change the oil filter out and put 2 quarts of synthetic 10W30 in there. And I think I'm going to be able to call this project done. I did run into a slight problem during the testing. you know, it's just one of those Murphy's Law things that you got to check. You know, every connection, every bolt needs to be tightened. It started out great. It was running smooth and up and down. It really felt like a brand new engine. And then all of a sudden it started to backfire, started to miss, and then it just backfired again and then stopped entirely. That was not the sound I was wanting to hear, but thankfully when I started to investigate it, it turns out that the ignition coil wire to the spark plug was very loose, so I just had to crimp it a little bit, get it back on there, and it fired right back up, which I'm just thanking my lucky stars that that was the only problem. And you know, put new the Permtex on it, and thankfully no leaks. I let it set up for 24 hours. All the linkage has been cleaned up, and as you can see, you can get a oil filter wrench on there. I just removed the cover that's on the side here, and yeah, so I think we're gonna be okay on this. That was a lot of work, but it sounds really good now. All right, so the oil is changed and seems to be running pretty smooth. No more lifter noise. And what you're hearing below, if you can hear it, it's a new drive belt. So the drive belt had a little lump on it. I just filed it down lightly, and it seems to have quieted it down. But changed out for the regular John Deere oil filter. It's a lot smaller, but that SuperTech one should definitely work once I eventually need to change the oil. And while it is a little windy out here, we're looking at 15-20, but that's not all the way down. If I wanted to throttle all the way down, about 1250 is what you want for an idle. So I hope this has helped other people. I'm glad that it worked out the way it did. And any questions, please feel free to leave a comment in the description or check out mytractor.com. Thank you, guys. Take care.